Now, we have set up this particular transmission for the idea of discussing what is euphemistically called in your language your soul blueprint. What this generally means is that when you choose to be physical, as many of you know, you will come into physical reality with a general theme that you have decided to play out. It does not always mean that you decide every single moment of your life, or that you are destined to only do certain things. That is not what the soul blueprint means. Although you can create some specific incidents, events, encounters in your life. You can design them, set them up ahead of time for that to come to fruition. You can do that, and sometimes do that. But not every moment, far from it, is laid out ahead of time. You leave yourself an opening throughout your life to make changes as you go, depending upon how much you learn, how much you recognize, how much you realize, how much you integrate. You leave yourself the opportunity at every moment to take the new information and decide where you wish to go, what you wish to do with it, what you want your life to be from that moment forward. The general theme you may have set up for yourself prior to this life will be played out, but the theme is so general that it does not in any way, shape, or form restrict you or limit you in terms of the multitude of the kinds of ways in which you could express or experience that theme. And especially now, at this time upon your planet, many of the themes that you are exploring in these lives are all about waking up to the fact that you have the freedom to choose what you want your life to be, how you want to experience it. Now, we remind you once again that the most important perspective, the most important attitude to have toward your physical reality experience is not to look at how you are doing based on what's going on out there, but how you are doing based on how you respond to whatever's going on out there, no matter what it is. Always remember, there is no out there. There is only here. There is only you. Physical reality is an illusion, a mirror, a reflection. You can use it as a tool in some senses to reflect what is going on within you, what your beliefs are, what your thoughts are, what your emotions are, what your attitudes are, what your definitions are. You can use physical reality as a reflection, but it is not the first step in gauging whether or not you have made a change. The first step in knowing that you have changed is that you respond differently than you used to a situation that may look the same as it did before. As we have said, all situations and all circumstances do not have built-in meaning, and they can serve double duty. The meaning you give it is the effect you get from it. So the first step in knowing your reality has changed is in knowing you have changed with respect to your experience of reality, even if it looks the same as it did before. If you can then respond differently to that reality than you did before, then you know the change is real, the change is within you, the change is owned by you. And when you respond differently than you did before, in a manner that is more of your preference, then and only then does your physical reality truly begin to reflect that change in other ways. But remember, it doesn't have to necessarily look much different. The key is whether or not you are getting a different effect in your life than you did before. Because the very same situation with all the same props and all the same people behaving all the same way as they did before can still allow you to generate a completely different outcome, a completely different effect, a completely different energy than you did before, just by the fact that you are relating to the situation differently. Because you say you have changed and will respond differently. Because you are now not the same person that you were before. Literally. When outer reality needs to look different, it will, as a reflection of the change. Whatever part of the change it needs to reflect differently, it will. But don't go off the outer reflection. Always go off your response. That will determine the difference. And that will determine the outcome. And that will determine the effect. Now, this personality idea that we have discussed many times, and which we will discuss in greater detail this time, is only your outer focusing device. Your personality is really nothing more than a window or a prism through which your consciousness creates the experience called physical reality. Now that experience is, of course, actually only taking place within you. Again, there is no outside. Nothing out there. Nothing. Just a reflection. Just as there is nothing itself of the image in the mirror, you understand there is really nothing of reality outside you. It is all taking place within your consciousness. But what the personality allows itself to perceive is often built upon not only the beliefs and definitions you have been taught in life to hold most true, to buy into most strongly, but also based upon what is technically called the soul blueprint. What you brought into this life, in a sense, as a theme to explore. So you will always look at everything that happens through the personality. You will always look at everything through that general theme. You will experience it through that general theme. When you choose to be physical and go from a non-physical state into a physical state, in a sense what you do is a kind of crystallization. It's like going from being steam to being water to being ice. You freeze yourselves in a type of pattern. This pattern then is referred to as the soul blueprint. What you brought in with you in general, that you will explore in this life. Now, many of you have similar themes, as we said, in this life, because you're all exploring the ability to be aware and awake of the fact that you are free to choose your reality experience. Whereas in your history, in the past, as you say, you were not aware that you had this choice, that you had this freedom. And even many of you alive on your planet today are unaware that you have this choice, that you have this freedom to choose your life to be what you wish it to be. Many people on your planet still believe that life happens to you instead of happening through you. But it does not happen to you. It comes from you and reflects back to you.